Hello. Today's stories come from r/MaliciousCompliance. We've got 3 stories today that topped the chart in the last couple of weeks. Our first is, "You should fire us." Okay. My family runs a small trucking company. Depending on where you are in the world, you might call us a P&D company, a final mile company, a white glove company. Basically, we handle the kind of stuff that you might buy to have delivered to your home or business that's too big for someone like UPS to deliver, but not big enough for a tractor trailer to haul and or stuff that actually needs to be brought into the home and set up, like furniture, appliances, etc. A lot of what we've hauled over the years is stuff going to small stores that can't take delivery by large truck, construction sites where large trucks can't get in and out, neighborhoods and apartment complexes. We don't work for the people buying the stuff. We work for the people selling or shipping it. But as we tend to see the same business owners a lot, we've developed great relationships with them over the years. We don't get rich, but we've been pretty comfortable over the years. Our one major stressor has been a longtime shipper who has, or rather had, become increasingly demanding as time went on. Now, when I say long time, I mean it. We made our first delivery for them over 50 years ago. Our company has been doing business with them longer than any of their current employees or management staff have been there. There was one point not too long ago where the retired guy who came in a few hours a day to sweep our warehouse because he was bored sitting home literally knew more about this shipper's systems than their senior field rep, who was supposed to be supervising our operations. We have been a small but vital part of their network for so long that almost no one there really realized how much we did for them. We've seen field reps come and go. Some have been great, some have been a little challenging, but most have, once they realized what was going on, largely left us alone to do our jobs. One even called when he took over our area to ask who we were because his predecessor had no notes on us at all, because they'd never had to visit. We've just been, mostly, quietly plugging along, taking care of their customers, in some cases, for generations. Well, the latest rep was a genuinely unpleasant person. He was arrogant, abrasive, casually insulted our employees. Honestly, it's not worth getting into the minutiae here. He wasn't someone we wanted to work with. But I'm able to put on a happy face and get along with about anyone, when needs must. And so onward we strode. As I said earlier, the shipper had been getting more and more demanding as time went on. Systems had been getting harder to navigate, inventory had been getting harder to track, phone trees had grown into banyan nightmares, more and more layers of bureaucracy had been added, and with every change, they'd grown less agile, slower, more difficult to deal with. One day, the field rep called because he didn't like how we'd answered an email. Not that we hadn't answered it, just that he didn't like the manner in which it had been answered. After decades of dealing with a shipper, being micromanaged to that level was not something that we were interested in. The manager here, who was dealing directly with him, tried to diffuse the situation, but it kept getting worse until the field rep said, "If you aren't happy with the way things are going, maybe you should just quit." Oh, okay then. We started running the numbers, looked at all our other business, decided that we could, indeed, go on without them. And then I called the field rep to have a frank conversation with him. And then I wrote a short, polite, direct letter to our customer of over 50 years telling them that we were firing them. We didn't just pull the plug. We gave them a full 60 days' notice so they'd have time to get something worked out. And they didn't. We've always been here for them. They've never had to worry about it. They had someone they thought was going to be a replacement, but, well, as of today, most of their customers in this area haven't had deliveries in a week, some longer than that. Many don't know when they'll get their next shipment. That field rep might not have a job when all is said and done, but it's not our problem anymore. Our phone keeps ringing, people looking for their freight from that shipper. Sorry, you'll have to call them. Gotta love sticking it to people who take you for granted. This is probably a huge blow to OP's previous customer. Not only do they have to find a replacement, they'll likely lose a ton of business in the interim. Damage done. There's a bit of a deeper dive into a funny little comment thread with OP. Let's check out the comments. Fruit said, "Every time you get a call for freight, you should not only say, 'Sorry, you'll have to call them,' add, 'Be sure to ask for field rep.' It's a shame a good business relationship went south because of nonsense. But that's how it goes when the business doesn't care enough to train their people. To be clear, not your people, their people." OP replied, "There's so much institutional memory that's been lost. No one there understands how well things used to run, so they think that the current dysfunctional state is just how it's supposed to be. Maybe if we hadn't been around so long, we'd be the same way. I don't know. It's bad and only seems to be getting worse. I really hope they pull it together and things get better. Maybe we'll even start hauling for them again someday." Quoting, "Maybe we'll even start hauling for them again someday," Ree A asked, "What will be the rate increase?" OP replied, "Substantial. But they'd also have to straighten their systems out." Budget Speech said, "This one needs an update." OP replied, "It's ongoing. Tag me in a week or so." Edit, "Rest in peace, my inbox." Edit 2, "Gods, there are 218 comments and over half of them are remind me. I promise I'll try to remember." Edit C, "Over 350 remind me's. What have I done?" And X said, "Expect a few more pings when it gets posted to r/best of Reddit updates." OP replied, "Oh crap." PM Me Storm Drains added, "And then just wait for those YouTube post reading channels to read it out loud and then publish it." Uh-oh. It's almost like it was meant to be. OP quipped, "And someone I know is going to recognize the story, and then the real fun begins." Fishy said, "Newsweek seems to depend on Reddit lately for a lot of their content. Enjoy. It was a good read." Cat in the Mirror said, "And BuzzFeed, and Board Panda, and Slate, and..." Hybrid Veneer said, "Don't worry. We will all remember meeting you before you got famous." Our second story takes us back to college campus in "Can't work on your laptop without my name badge? Guess it wasn't that critical." I worked for a university IT department as a student worker for a little over 4 years. We had a sister department, the Media Center, who loaned out laptops, projectors, and other technology to professors as needed. In my 4th year in employment, I was on a first name basis with nearly all the employees of the university, including the head of the Media Center. We'll call her Karen, because, obviously, Karen was the queen of her kingdom and had quite a few obnoxious rules in place. But most importantly, was an ironclad employee ID policy for checking out laptops. Under normal circumstances, I completely agree with this policy. However, this wasn't a normal circumstance. We got a call from her at 4:40 on a Friday. We closed at 5. That a laptop she was trying to loan out to a very important professor wasn't able to log into the network, and she requested we come look at it. Sure thing. I make the 10-minute walk across campus from our office to the media center with my toolkit. When I get there, I see the professor and Karen and ask to see the laptop. She says, "Wait, Saucer, you need your name badge. Where is it?" Flashed my name badge, clipped to my jacket, hanging on a coat rack in the ITS office. It's on my jacket, Karen. I forgot to grab it rushing over here." I chuckled a bit. Deadpan, she says, "Saucer, you can't work on this until you go get your badge." "Karen, I thought this was an emergency. Do you need me to fix this right now?" "Yes, of course," Karen explained. "But we still need to always follow policy." "Fair enough. Policy is incredibly important. I'll go get my name badge." I left the office, trekked the 10 minutes back to my office. Then I picked up the phone and called her. "Hey, Karen, just letting you know that because it's 5:20 and policy states student workers can't work after hours, I'll have to come back Monday. Have a great weekend." She fumed at me for a few minutes until I essentially hung up on her. Policy is very important. Edit. Adding this from my comment below, "What happened on Monday?" My boss did not like Karen at all. He was an amazing guy in general. Late 50s, survived cancer, has MS, but still ran security at biker rallies. He'd been with the university for about 30 years and had 8 weeks paid time off. So he would take months off and ride around the country with his equally amazing wife. This was in 2005, and he set the standard for what I would consider a good boss. So he came in Monday morning to a bunch of voicemails from her about it, yells over to me, "Saucer, did you leave Karen hanging on Friday?" "Yeah, Chuck," his real name because he's amazing. "Forgot my name badge." "Yeah, you are pretty forgetful sometimes." He shrugged, and that was that. Karen had to loan her individual work laptop to the professor for the week. For the curious, the problem was that in Windows XP days, when logging in, Windows would attempt to connect to every saved wireless network top to bottom. Because this was a loaner, and there were literally hundreds of hotel, airport, and restaurant Wi-Fi, it was taking approximately 8 or 9 minutes for the logon prompt to come up. It took me around 30 seconds to clear out all the saved Wi-Fi connections and return the laptop to them. Karen was not in the office when I went to work on it Monday morning. Edit 2. I 100% was in the wrong here because I forgot my name badge. I didn't float the name badge policy on purpose, it was a mistake. Anyone familiar with the Midwest will confirm that sometimes it's bitter cold in the morning, but by late afternoon it's warm enough you don't need a jacket. During my morning tickets, I was wearing a jacket and had my name badge on it. Over lunch, I took my jacket off and didn't need it. It was a mistake, and Karen decided that the badge policy was too important for her to overlook my mistake, which is definitely her prerogative. And it's mine to overlook the student workers cannot be paid overtime rule. The laptop was fixed within 45 business minutes of her reporting the problem to our office, which, in my opinion, is relatively fast. Name badges and security policies are important, and I could understand her not wanting to let me check out the laptop as if I was a faculty member using their services. But I was an IT employee working late on a Friday, even though I wouldn't be done in time, so we both could take care of that professor. I wasn't taking the laptop home, I was working on it in front of her. Additionally, it was her department's policy that she wouldn't let people handle laptops without signing them out, but not ours. Our department had no official name badge policy. Edit 3. Well, there are a lot of assumptions going on. Guys, this was 2005. The purpose of the name badge was so when they wrote down who has the laptop, they could write down who had the laptop. But I wasn't taking the laptop anywhere. In no other department and in no other course of our job was our ID required. And at no point in any other part of our jobs did we have to sign for equipment. It was literally this one woman's department. Not to mention, everyone knew OP. I get wanting to maintain the integrity of a policy, especially for security purposes. But if there's an expectation of using common sense or discretion in an emergency situation like this, then it needs to be a two-way street. Let's head to the comments, where we witness the discovery of the next T.S. Eliot and find a few extra details from OP. Felgau said, "Beautiful." The JMFB added, "I've seen poetry with less beauty." Klubba eloquently adds, "Enforcer of rules, demands compliance and meets, follower of rules." Gumnos asks, "At what point in the story did you know this would be the outcome? I'm thinking as soon as she made you head out to retrieve your badge, you knew she wasn't getting it fixed on your watch." OP replied, "The millisecond I realized I forgot my badge walking through the front door, I knew she was going to greet me by name and that it wouldn't matter." Brazier shared, "F my life, unrelated, but I just remembered I have a loan badge around my neck I was supposed to turn in before heading home. We're forgetful badge buddies." OP replied, "I contemplated turning around and getting it before I saw her, but I knew she would complain about how long it took me to get to the media center." Slim Teasy said, "You did the right thing." Our last story is short, but it'll give you the justice tingles. It's called Only for New Hires? Fine. So, during high school, I worked at a part-time job at a grocery store that sounds similar to Jingles. We had a lot of cashiers quit and desperately needed more cashiers. At the time, I was making $10.50 an hour. Our general manager made a promotion where any cashiers hired got paid $11.25 an hour. So I go talk to my manager like, "Hey, can I get that raise?" He said, "No, it is only for new hires." Well, after about 2 weeks, I got fed up being the only one who knew how to run the registers because I was really the only one with experience. I was training employees who were making more than me. I asked again to be on the same level of the people I am training. I realized that the promotion ended in about a month, so I talked with my parents about my plan. I waited until I knew that he was going to struggle because of people already asking off. I went into my shift and I told my manager, "I quit. Here is my time card, here is the keys, I helped close once or twice, and here is my vest." He said, "Whoa, wait, let's talk about this." I said, "No," and walked straight out. I enjoyed the weekend off and hung out with friends more often than I normally did. Didn't work at all that week, and on Friday, a week and a day later, I went on the website and applied again. I was called in for an interview with my former manager. He seemed relieved and arrogant that I was coming back, but at the end of the interview, I asked, "Since I am a new hire, I get the new hire bonus pay, right?" And also, Janice, the only other lady who I liked, gave me her referral code. So I get that as well, right? I could tell he was very unhappy, but I did end up getting both. I missed 3 days of work, but ended up making more than the referral bonus, $250, and got myself a 75-cent raise. Well played, OP. Well played. Tell me you loved it as much as I did. Let's head to the comments for some extra details from OP and a great anecdote. In response to, "Hey, can I get that raise?" he said, "No, it is only for new hires." Mangoes Aren't Real said, "What goes through their minds when they think it's acceptable to pay new people with less work responsibilities more money than a currently employed workhorse?" OP replied, "Beats me. I guess he wanted to save money, but keep a few people for the busy season." Temujin quipped, "At least you made his turnover rate higher by quitting and reapplying. Bet that makes a good impression when he asks for a raise." And Drambor said, "It always blows my mind when a manager will risk their whole operation to pick up a dime." OP replied, "I know I wasn't the most important employee and highly replaceable, but when your turnover rate is so bad you go up on 75 cents starting pay, you need to keep the employees you have." Someone else said, "Crap, I would have asked for $1.50 to come back. That 75 cents was for starting pay with no experience." OP replied, "That is true. I probably should have, but I had only been there for a couple of months, so I didn't really think of it." Cale Corvin shared, "I did almost the same thing. I did, however, leave a 2 weeks notice, as I would not be rehirable if I did not. My last day was on a Thursday. Friday, I put in an application, and the HR hiring manager came out when they heard a qualified applicant was handing in an application. She looked confused, so I explained that my manager refused to increase my pay to match that of a new hire. Needless to say, she hired me on the spot. She didn't like my manager either, so set my wage at the top end of the new hire pay scale because I was qualified due to my work experience. Duh. And she gave me a $100 sign on bonus. I showed up for work Monday morning, and the boss says, "Ha, I knew you were full of crap when you said you were quitting because you found a better paying job." My reply? Yep, I did. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.